So, welcome to today's Friday edition of Simply Scrappy. I have two things I'm going to work through. One of them is a border off my blog. And so, like I said, my whole career in this creative memory is, you kind of set out in life with a goal of what you think you're going to do in any business or career, whatever you do. And then there tends to be maybe a little bit difference in timeline than what you hope. And when I originally started my website back in 2019, I did think I was going to blog and I thought I was going to sell my products on the website. And then it was a little bit cumbersome to sell on the website. It's a lot of setup, integration, blah, blah. And I figured, and then I found Facebook. And so it's much easier to sell on Facebook. And so that's where I've been the last 5 years selling product, but I've really outgrown Facebook and it's time to be on the website, especially with the outages this week. The Facebook outages, like I cannot be this dependent on a social media platform for my income. So anyways, back to the website. So I've had the website, it's tessascrapbooks.com, and there's no product right now. And you can see some really old blog posts, which I will leave up because it's always good to see where we started. And I laugh when I see the pictures, but I will resume blogging now. I'm super excited this week. They migrated. You can't see it yet, but they've migrated all my shop over, and so probably next week I can start using it. And then when that's settled, you will see a reface to the website and a new look to the blog. And so all of these simply scrappy content will also end up on a blog post. And so whenever I'm able to provide a handout, that's where you'll download it. And so I thought it would be fun today to send you all to blog posts that are just funny to look at. But one of them, my original ones, was called a shadow border technique. And I still like it. It's still super easy. I figure out where I put my demos over here. So all you need for this layout is an edge style punch. And some of you might recognize the layouts. Like I said, they've been on the blog. But this one was using Magic Awaits, and I used the roller coaster punch. You can see it top and bottom. And this one was Majestic Mountains. It was a genuine collection. So this tells you how long ago I did this layout. And so today I thought it would be fun to revamp it. And then why not use Birds and Blooms? Because it's an edge style punch. And so you'll need your trimmer, an edge style punch, and then you'll want your scoring blade. You don't have to use it. You could cut and turn if you wanted to. But the basic concept of the technique is that you need two pieces of paper. You need the base paper and you need the paper that's going to go on top. And so we're going to punch both sides of it and we're going to score one of them and flip it up. So it kind of creates the shadow border effect. And so the decision point does come in your paper. Whatever paper you choose for the top one, you will need one that looks good on both sides and you want one that has some contrast. And so I would start your decision making with the one that you want to see here on top. And then you can decide a paper that you want to use for the bottom. So in all my morning excitement, I once again did not prep for this, but other than knowing I was going to use this collection. But so many of you enjoyed seeing me choose my paper last week, I thought we're going to see what paper this week. So this is part of last week. So I have some cardstock in case I want to use that. And so this is what's left of Birds and Blossoms. I want to say Blend and Bloom. Do any of you get that magazine? Or Blend and Bloom's the paper. Yes. Yeah. Blend and Bloom is a Creative Memories paper pack. And then there's also a magazine that sounds like Birds and Blossom. Is it Birds and Blooms? Might be the magazine. And then this is Birds and Blossoms. And it's a tongue twister for me every time. So I'm going to choose the top sheet of paper. So this butterfly one actually would be a really good choice because I have the print on one side and a nice contrast on the other. The back side of this is birds, which would be pretty. I might lose a little bit of that busy print in the fold. Or if I did choose this one, I would probably use like this. Let's see what else we have down here. Tulips, which has a nice contrast too. Pretty. And then we have stripes. Two more options. We have blue with orange. This would be pretty. It's subtle, but it does have a nice contrast. And I'm thinking too about whatever design you choose. This part of the punch on the paper, you're going to kind of lose the effect of the design. It's just going to be more of a contrast to the paper behind it. And then we have stripes. I don't think I want to use stripes, so I'll rule that one out. And then the last choice I have is this one, but I did use this one last week, which, oh, well, that would be pretty too. You do it both ways. You punch up. Decisions. Decisions, guys. I don't think you can actually go wrong with anything in this collection. And I do need to order more paper because I know I will use a lot of this one. So let's decide which one we should try. And then I'm going to need a contrast behind it. Like I said, let's review the two I had made before. So this one was, I did have kind of that print, has a good contrast. It's kind of a dark tonal. This one was a dark tonal too. They're pretty similar actually. So whatever the print is on one side, you're not going to see a lot of it. It's just going to kind of show some color in it. If I do the birds, I'm going to have a good splash of color. Or I could just choose something a little simpler. And then we could do print behind it. That would be pretty too, because I love this print, but it's going to get lost a little bit. Maybe that one. Look at the screen. No, I don't want to use that. I would not use that on top on this. I also want to make sure whatever this is contrasts against this one. This is why I don't decide things on camera, because sometimes I will just sit and debate about it. I know I'm not going to fold one of these, but this could also be the background, because you would see a little bit of, if I choose this one, I would probably put the brown on top, and then because I'm folding up from the bottom, you could do the birds. I don't know. I suppose we don't know till you try, right? I mean, so let's try these and see. I'm worried I'm actually not gonna see as much of the bird as I like. You really want just more of a generic pattern. And these are mostly just subtle patterns or prints. Well, the butterflies would be pretty too. No one in the chat seems to have any opinion. You're all just saying hello, which is very kind of you. So my options would be stripes on the bottom. The brown would be cute on top. I'm going to punch this, so you're not going to see a lot of the print. You're just going to see the color. But this would have a good contrast against the base. Or I could do, if I did do the butterflies, probably not green. The butterfly in orange is pretty, but you kind of lose, I would almost have to keep with the brown, which I think this is kind of an eggshell because it doesn't have any colors in it. I think it might be a little bit more monotone. Okay, let's just go with this and see how it looks. So we're going to punch both ends of the paper you choose, which I chose the birds. Okay. So we're going to punch both ends. So here's where you have to think about your paper because you're going to punch both ends, but one of them is going to fold. You want to make sure that when we get to that part of folding that your print is going up. You will see a direction. So if you have a direction of your paper, be confident that you are punching the right ends because if I, like this, it does not going to matter that way, but if I punch my birds and I fold them, they're going to be sideways. So I'm just going to punch both ends with a border punch. You can also do this with a border maker cartridge. They're just a little bit thinner in design, which is fine. How many of you got this Birds and Blossoms collection? I know I didn't watch hers, but I know Megan used it and I used it last Friday. It has a lot of pretty colors in there. I like that it's not too pastel-y. Let me find my scissors and trim off my end a little bit and punch the other end. That can go. This will create one-page layout. Obviously, if you want 2 pages, you would just make 2 pages. This is also a frame punch, which is fun to play with. And on my end. So I'm going to fold one end. And you can decide if you want to fold a little bit extra. So I suggested 1 1/4. This is a pretty big design. So I probably want to fold, if I fold about right there, I'm going to see some nests. So I'm going to grab my trimmer and my scoring blade. And you're going to have to choose this based on your design. If you have a thin pattern, you don't need as much of a score. This one looks like I'm going up to about 1 3/4. I'm going to double check on the back side. I think that'll give me the nests. Make sure you don't grab your print. Okay. I'm scoring this. You have to make sure if your trimmer cuts your paper at this point with your scoring blade, then you need to replace your cutting mat. So once you have that score, it should fold really nicely. Yep, that's perfect. I can see my little nests. And then you can decide where to orient this on the page. So it was a good choice. I knew the brown would be a nice contrast with the top. It pops out there nicely. And then I have the birds down here. So the more you score and fold up, the less you're going to see, less room you're going to have right here for your design. So then you just decide where you want to place it. You can use some repo tape in your mat if you want. I have my silicone. I'm just going to throw a little repo tape here on the edge of that design. And then decide where I put it. So you have a couple of decisions when you adhere this. You know, if you want to adhere a title or some letters, you can push this to the top and have space down here for journaling or titling, or you can keep it centered, or you could pull it down. I don't really like it pulled down unless you know you have something that's going to be going on up there. And then when it comes time to decorating, this collection came with borders, mats. You can add a little bit more if you want. I don't know if any of these borders would work. I haven't even looked. They might be a bit much, but here's some, yeah, that would be cute too. I could layer in the robins down there. You can kind of see the nest above them. Or I could do something a little bit of foliage, one or the other, or nothing. You can leave that as is. Go simple, leave it centered. And then we have some variety mats. But if you want a lot of pictures on this layout, you probably will need to either cut them down smaller or use peekaboo pockets. Look through here, find some mats that work. Some of these are large, but like this one, if you like that title, you could cut this down. It'd be fun to pull the green up. Or I could add some more blue. Any of those would work. And fever. Oh, that's cute. Little bird told me. So here's some options if I was choosing a journaling box. If I was going to use that, I would cut it down and layer it. Spring fever. These get pretty big, but again, if you have a 2-page layout and you make a whole nother set of it, you can have room for more photos. I like the little bird told me. Cute little journaling box. If I did a 2-page layout, I would put this on the right page because the bird's over here looking towards the layout. So if you do pages, have the other one over there. And then you could have a map for photos there. Because I folded this up extra to see the nest, I am a little bit crowded to get a mat in here without overlapping the design one or the other. That's why I usually suggest more like 1 1/4. If you're not trying to see part of your print so that your score is closer to your design. And that's going to keep it a little bit lower and you're going to have just enough space in there to slide in a mat. So I'd probably go something like this. I would do 4x6s here. I could do peekaboo or do 4x3. I would have my mat up here. And then down here, I probably would not use a mat. I would cut my photos to fit and use that brown as the mat behind the photos. So, and then this pat did not come with embellishments. And so when it comes down to final design, it would be stickers. And obviously the bird stickers are going to be beautiful accents, but I'm not willing to commit to those without the photos. Not as easy to play around with, but some nice little options there. So that's how you do the shadow border. Definitely play around with it. Get your edgers, just do one score and a fold. Kind of get a nice contrast to the front and the back. And I have an easy layout you can easily do in 5 minutes. So 5-minute layout, 15-minute to debate your paper. So it's really kind of a 20-minute layout, right? I feel like they all should have a little bit of disclaimer. Okay, next I wanted to work on my February calendar page. So I'm going to move all this stuff out and I will glue this down and post it. I wonder if I could find some photos. It would be prettier. So calendar pages. I know some of you logged in for my January, which I don't have to show as a recap, but every month it's in my book already, which is somewhere behind me. So every month with the calendar kits, we have the kit. It comes with the calendar pages and it comes with the border strips so that you can use and choose. And then the number stickers, letters. So I have a choice of these. What color do I want to use for each month? There is a light pink in here. I knew that I would not use light pink for any other month, but I wasn't sure I wanted to use it for this month either, actually. And the nice thing about all of these colors is the backside is this nice craft paper, and it does have some tonal design to it, so it's not just plain. And so I thought, well, what if I flip it? And then I've been trying to use up scraps for these, and I have just a little bit of remnant. I mean, this is really getting down to the end of my Sweet on You bundle, which you guys have seen me use. And you know, I keep all the little pieces. And so here are some little pieces of scraps that I have, and I started to piece together what I thought I would throw up here at the top. So I have little squares. I can cut this one down. And if I want to add a little bit of decorative, I can use one of my decorative blades to cut the edges of these and make them a little bit fancier. And then anytime you start layering in little pieces, it's just a fun, scrappy effect. And then I had some hearts. So these are punched out of the heart to heart. Punch these out. And then I have just this little remnant piece from a punch. The bad thing about it is the edges. You can see where it got trimmed off the previous border, but I thought, well, I could still layer the little hearts kind of on the ends and you won't notice. So it's using up all the bits and pieces. So I'm going to piece this together. So I'm going to choose a decorative blade and give a little bit of a fancier touch. As you know, on the trimmer, we have lots of choices. I just want something like decal or Victorian, just a little bit of texture. I'm going to go with decal, I think. We're going to go subtle. Change my blade. And so then I have these little pieces, and I'm just going to fancy cut each edge. I love to look for reasons to use the blades because I feel like they get forgotten down there on the bottom of our trimmer. This one I need to cut down a little bit. I need to cut, it looks like just below that second O. So that gives me another scrap I could layer somewhere. This decal blade gives it a little bit of a torn edge without having to tear. And then I have this little scrap. I know a lot of you would throw these scraps away, and if it was cardstock or something else, I would, but for these smaller collections, I try to keep. The only bad thing is like getting it into the trimmer. You can use repo tape if you need to hold it. There, I got it. I'm going to layer those in. Sometimes I piece it together, then I don't want to like completely deconstruct it because I'm afraid I'll forget where I had everything. I'm kind of working by sliding. And sliding back down there. I love the contrast of the brown. I really like the Sweet on You collection because they used the brown. It wasn't quite so pink. I mean, I can handle pink in February, but a little can go a long way depending on the use for it. I feel like this toned it down. So I had this scrap. I didn't cut this. It just is what I had. I'm thinking I'll kind of sit my month title on top of it. I'm going to overlap a little bit. So it kind of looks like it's kind of sitting along something. Might move this a little bit over. Or did I have that down before? If I move this down a little bit, you can see I have these three little hearts. So I'm always thinking about where I can overlap and layer. I don't want to see that red there though. Looks like an awkward overlap. I'll shift it down a little bit. I think I might shift this down. Nice thing about repo tape. And there, so I can overlap here, and then it looks like it's kind of sitting along the brown. A little high there, go a little lower. And then I can work in some of these other little pieces. I can think about if I want to use this extra little one that I had. Layer it. I need to give it a decorative edge though. With something a little bit more subtle. Tuck that down in there. Then I have my little scrap border piece. I know I'm going to put little hearts on the end of it, kind of like a little cluster. Right there. And then for the little tiny hearts, you can use repo, or you could try a little bit of the little precision point. If it's easier for you. I should be using my little reverse tweezers. It would definitely be easier to place that. So I'm covering up the little place where that had a little gap. And then I have other little ones I can decide where to pop those. I'm just making a little cluster. All the hearts are here, so I'm not using. I can save this one. I'll put that one over here. There you go. Just a little February title using up little bits and scraps for that. So I'm going to let that dry, then I can glue it down. I already put my numbers on. And then when I come down here, I can decorate these spots. So down here I measured. There is a little bit of difference in widths on the weekends and the weekdays. And so if you want to cut a strip to cut, just grab your ruler. This one I measured and cut this brown piece. So it can go down here in the space. I wanted to use up a little of the brown scrap too, because by using the brown paper that came in the kit, it ties this brown with this brown and it coordinates with this craft, because I'm not going to have this craft in any other color anywhere else. And then I have this space here. So I have a span of 4 days that I want to cover up with paper also. This is all I have left of this kit. So it's all the same paper. It's going to be too light if I use this side, so I'll probably just cut a piece of the brown to fill in. So this is 1 3/4 high. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the 1 3/4. Go back to my straight blade. I think this is dry. I can glue this down. So you can see this is the pink that was on the back side. So it's pretty. I mean, it's just a baby girl pink. And I just like the brown color better. And then this looks like there's 8, 8.5, 8 5/8. That's how long this strip needs to be. I'm going to go a little bit generous just to make sure so I can decide here. I'm going to actually I'm going to clean up this edge. Cleaning mean I'm just cutting off so that there's not a partial design. It's going to look like the edge of it. And then I can measure over here. So that's 8.5, 8 5/8. Well, now I might be too short. Am I too short? Did I measure wrong? Oh, I guess I was slightly short anyways. Okay, well, it is. So I have to decide now. It's going to be a little short. How did I miss that? I don't know. Oh, because I'm covering up the one. Oh my gosh. Okay, you can tell it's Friday. Now remeasure. I need 4 days. I need to look here. So this is 6.5. 6 3/4. So on this one, on the 13 by 13, we have quarter marks and 8 marks. So this is 6 7/8. Okay, let's try again. 6 7/8. But I want that edge. Edge. Okay. Round 2. There we go. Now it will fit very nicely in there. I wouldn't put it past me to start covering up true days. So now you can just see the actual days of the month. So I'll go through, I'll use my calendar, my camera roll, and my credit card. Those are the 3 resources I use to remember what I do on each day. So I'll write all of that in. And then I can decorate along here with any scraps that I may have. I also have like this strip, or I could just punch some hearts. I have this scrap too. I thought maybe I could get, I don't know if I can get the whole circle. Let me see on the heart. This is an old punch, the double heart. I'm sure a lot of you have random heart punches. I could just do a whole line of punched hearts. I got this one too. Do you guys have this one, the little friendship micro maker? I could get that kind of heart. And if I wanted to get more of the mini parts I already had, of course, I can use a border punch, and I just need to make sure I'm getting up in here. So if I want to get some of these mini ones, it looks like I get 2 at a time, actually. Get a couple out of there. So that's how I will finish decorating this page. Getting sticky. Maybe this one up here. So I have this print down here, and then down here in this corner. I do want to see how this one looks. This is also going to give me the letters, L-O-V-E with the heart. This is love letters. It would fit nicely down here. So I could decide if I want to do the brown on top. I already have brown on the bottom. Or I could go see if I could find some cardstock to kind of pull this pink down here, or the red would be pretty. But I think I'm out of scraps. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig out probably cardstock, because the only paper I have left is this white one. I don't have any more of that, unfortunately. So I'll go find some red or the pink. You know what I could maybe use, actually? This was a paper I used. It's gonna be light though. It's a real pale pink I'd used on my sweetheart layout. I think I want a little bit more contrast. Maybe the red. I think this is scarlet. So do you guys have something like this that you keep all of your random scraps in? So I just need to find a red that matches pretty closely. It's not next to it, so I don't think it'll be completely obvious. So yeah, I like that pop down there a little bit more. And then I could do little red hearts beside it. And then now I have these words I want to use, Love. Decide where I want those somewhere on the layout, because now I don't want to waste those. That'd be pretty up here on the craft. This is just A fun way to spend half hour or so is using your scraps to decorate your calendar page. Are any of you making them for the year? Keeping up with them? You guys are going to keep me accountable because every month I'll have to show you, which means I'll have it made, and I really will have this done by the end of the year. And then I need a couple red hearts for right there. And that will be that. Probably need maybe a couple red right there too. It's a lot of hearts, but once I get all my writing on there, I don't think it'll be quite so much. So, any questions? It looks like through the chat, you guys um, followed along pretty well. Some of you are watching, even though you're not doing calendar pages. Well, I look forward to seeing what you make with the shadow border. So if you do make any of that, you can go ahead and post it in the ideas group. And you could hashtag shadow border or not hashtag at all. I see most of the posts that come through there. So I'll be happy to see what you do. And then if you do make calendar pages, I would love to see what you do. Maybe you don't want to share your whole life, but you want to take a picture of it before you post and show people how you're making your headers. Would be fun also. You all know I'm a very busy season of life right now. And so I know someday I will look back at my calendar and just be amazed at everything that got fit in. But it's fun. I have old calendar pages like years ago when we had the old style ones. I did calendar pages back in those books, and it's fun to go back and see and remember. And I still have my old calendars. So I don't know that I'll actually ever be that ambitious to go back and make them, but we'll see. You never know. Well, I will see you guys next Friday. I will decide what I'm doing. At some point, this will show up on YouTube. It will show up on my blog. And for those of you in my shop group, my next step after I clean this up is to go post the rest of the stuff for the sale today. And once that's posted, I will start working through the invoices. So I will see you all somewhere in the world at Facebook today. Have a good weekend. See you later.